After a busy summer, things are clicking, and after 4 games we sit on top of the table. We beat third place Lens 2-0, with of course Dion Drenabello getting the first and Daniel Bassi the second. But on deadline day, Arsenal made a £29.5 million initial bid, potentially rising to $36 million for Gonçalo Esteves. We had promised him we'd let him go for a bid of over $27.5 million, and he made sure we didn't forget. Our backup Justin Che isn't quite as good, but he's only 22, he will improve, and he can do a job. The issue will be finding a good backup to Che, but we can't break the promise to Esteves, and we also can't turn down $36 million. So off he went to Arsenal, and we found a cheap deal for Libor Holic, signing from Victoria Pleasant for £60,000. For the money, he is outstanding, but is certainly more defensively minded with low crossing, dribbling and passing. Obviously he's not as good as Gonçalo, but considering we're making £35,940,000 of profit out of the exchange, I think we can deal with it. Reims was a frustrating game. They took an early lead and then they parked the bus. We kept pushing and pushing, but could only score 1 goal through Daniel Bassi and drew the match. Then our game against Nice was also looking like it was going to be a draw, until substitute Aziz Yakubu scored in the 92nd minute to win the game 1-0. But we finally lost our first game of the season as Troyes did us over. We then had 12 players away on international break. The standout performer was 16-year-old goalkeeper Mathieu Arnoux for France's under-19s. But annoyingly, Tom Roth picked up a 5-week injury as he made his debut for Germany. But in good injury news, Wunderkid Bastien is now back and ready to play for us. Then after dominating the game against Rennes, we only came away with a draw after both teams scored in the first 8 minutes of the match. So after all of that, we sit 4th in the table, 5 points behind PSG, who are taking on first in today's video. I have been rotating the team around quite a bit in between episodes. Now there are some players that have just stayed there pretty much every single game. Etienne Green, our 2 centre-backs, Koba, Annan and Bellio have all pretty much been permanent fixtures as part of the team. But I keep swapping Belic and Tommy Doyle around. Busio keeps swapping with Pablo Martinez and Carrizo, the youngster we've got in on loan from Argentina. Mitrovic is actually making a return to the team. Bassi has been playing mostly, but he hasn't played well in the previous few matches. And then as and when injuries have dictated it, our wing-backs have swapped around a few times. Today we're starting with Che and Jamalka because Tom Roth is still injured. So I'm not expecting a whole lot in this game against PSG. They are top of the table. We're not quite good enough to compete with them across the course of a season. In the odd game, we might be able to do something as we take the lead thanks to Tarek Buchmann's header from the corner. But I am now sort of coming to the realisation that I think our backline is probably weaker than it was last season now Esteves is gone. Yes, we brought in a lot of money, potentially £36 million, and we can use that to bring in some better players in the future, but it's going to take a little bit of time to scout out the right players and get them into the team. So our wing-backs aren't as good as they were last season. Actually, I think our centre-backs are probably a little bit better because Buchmann is better than Vallejo, so that probably balances things out a little bit. But the wing-backs certainly aren't quite as good as Randall Kolo Muani just tried an overhead kick from outside the area. That would have been insane. I have actually got a player in mind for right-back. We have scouted him out, but he just joined Fulham this past transfer window, so we couldn't get him into the club, obviously. So we'll have to probably wait until maybe next season, potentially, to bring him in. He's called Sam Curtis, he's Irish, he's very good as Esteves, the scout reports seem to say, but again, it's going to take a while for that to even materialise at some point. But we seem to be quite dangerous from these corners as Dion Drenabello gets on the end of that one, putting it just over the bar. Dion actually has been pretty quiet. He scored in the match against Lens, and then I don't think he's scored since. He had a little injury, which meant Aziz Yakubu started 1 or 2 games. Also, Yakubu came off the bench and scored a goal as well. So maybe Yakubu is starting to get back to his ways a little bit. But Dion is our first choice, so he's going to be playing for us the majority of this season. As Jamalka finds the ball into Mitrovic, finds Busio, and Busio gets his second of the season and gives us a 2-goal lead over PSG here. This was not expected, but I'm liking it. So half-time, we've actually not as much possession, but we have dominated the shots. I mean, we've limited PSG to 2 shots. That's it. You're doing brilliantly. Keep going out there. Let's get this win. It's interesting we're actually doing it right now because our back line is on a 6.4, a 6.7 and a 6.6. Beekman's got his goals, so he's on a 7.5. Belic on a 6.7 as well, and Nan and Bellew on 6.7s. There's only a couple of players playing very well in this squad right now, but they're doing enough to nullify PSG and beat them. And hopefully we can get a third goal here as a Nan gets into Bellew, who hits the post. I think there's an offside in there somewhere, so it doesn't actually count. But this would be great for us. Get the win here today, close the gap to PSG to 2 points. Marseille would probably win and go ahead of them, but we'd only be 4 points behind them. 65 minutes on the clock. I think we make a couple of changes here. We're going to bring Yakubu on for Bellew, who's not playing particularly well. I just can't seem to get a good match out of Belic or Tommy Doyle, really, to be honest. So I'm going to swap those two around. And actually, Justin Che has not played great since he's taken over as first choice, so Holic is going to come on right now. Hopefully they will help seal the game out and get us the win over PSG. But Mbappe, who we've kept very quiet today, finds Otavio, and Otavio gets a goal back. But was it offside? The referee is going to VAR. I don't think it was offside, personally. There we go. So with 20 minutes to go, we need to be a little bit more careful. And maybe we should be trying to make some tactical tweaks here with 20 minutes to go. Maybe we should be looking to bring someone else into that back line to just solidify things, because PSG are finding their groove. Luckily, Fontaine is switched on there to make the interception. Mitrovic finds Koba, forward to Aziz Yakubu, into Busio, and we are very quickly getting forward. A ball over the top to Annan, makes it down to Holic, our new right back, who gets his first goal for the club. Amazing work from him. What a team move! So now we're doing this, let's drop the tempo, drop the passing directness as well. Let's not run at the defence so much. Let's time waste sometimes. There's still 15 more minutes to go, and be more disciplined. But PSG have a free kick, and a dead ball situation is always dangerous as they put a ball to the edge of the area and hit the post. My word, that was a move off the training ground which looked to have worked pretty well. But I think the work we've done to try and nullify the game and slow the tempo down is working. A highlight with 5 minutes to go. It's in our favour right now with a deep free kick, which Buchmann is going to be taking. 3 minutes to go plus any added time. Ball to Busio. A lot of players on yellow cards here, but he finds Holic, who finds the ball to Aziz Yakubu, who puts it over the bar. That really could have put the game beyond all doubt, but I think we've done enough right now as the clock ticks down. You love to see it. What a win. And given the loss to Troyes and the draw to Rennes we had in the previous 2 games leading up to this one, that was exactly what we needed. But we will miss Tarek Buchmann, who was fantastic in that game, in the next match because he's picked up a yellow card suspension. So now all the games from the weekend have taken place. Marseille do go ahead of PSG. Lens also won, so we stay in 4th. Also, I have just had a thought. We haven't spoken to the board for a little while, and we could definitely do with some increases to our training and youth facilities. We now have £40 million in the bank balance thanks to some transfers we made. So I've asked the board for the training facilities and they're going to let me know shortly. But we can't ask for youth right now. We must have done that recently. So instead, let's ask for more academy coaching. And we did lose some affiliate clubs as well. So we've still got Red Star in Ligue 2, which is quite handy to have, although we've not sent anyone there this season yet. We've got a team in the 5th division, which isn't much use, and a team in Senegal, which I think helps with scouting. So I'd either like a team in the 3rd division or try to increase our profile in another country. I think we'll try the profile first, and they agree that it's a good idea. Would I like to choose the club? I'd love to. So there's quite a few teams in Japan that we could link up with, a few in Korea and a few in Australia. You know what? The holy grail for me is probably like a top Chinese club for all the money or an MLS club for all the money. However, I think right now a Japanese club with continental reputation would be very handy. We don't have a Japanese leagues loaded up right now, although potentially that's something we could open up if we get to have an affiliate club there. But it looks like Hiroshima have come runners-up a couple of times recently, so I think we're going to choose Hiroshima to be our affiliate club. And you know what? Because of that, there's no harm in just going to Asia, Japan, adding in the top Japanese league. I don't think we're going to sign many players from Japan, but that will come into play in January, which would be quite nice. And maybe we could make some better use of the link. So all of that is now confirmed. Amazing. The board have said they are not going to increase our junior coaching, academy coaching. We're going to try and negotiate with them and say, come on, do it. Please do it. And they say, yes, we're going to do it. Easy. And they are going to spend £5 million on upgrading the training facilities, which is wonderful. So all in all, feels pretty successful. Now we're taking on Clermont, they're 15th in the league. And I don't really want to change the team after that last match because they all played so well, but we have to take Buchmann out. We have to bring Jesus Vallejo in. And that also means, we can bring Tom Roth back onto the bench. We might bring him on. He's limited to... Actually, he can just start this game. You know what? We're going to do it. Bastian's still not played a game since coming back from injury. I think we're going to ease him in gently and probably sub him on in this game. He's done his loans in the 3rd division and the 2nd division. I think it's really important that he starts to play some first team football this season. He's 20 years old right now. I don't think he's developed maybe quite as much as we would have wanted him to. But also, I feel like potentially, a lot of you guys have said to me, this guy's great. He develops amazingly in my save file. Obviously, he's got a potential ability range, so some save files he is absolutely elite, some save files he won't be quite as good. And I think we may have got a version of him that's probably not quite as good as some of you guys have had. But, we can deal with that. He will be a very useful defender to have around the club. It's just that I think he maybe hasn't used the loans quite so well. And obviously being injured for 5 months doesn't help either. He does seem to be a little bit injury prone, as Clermont came pretty close there. They just hit the crossbar and I'm a little bit concerned. They have had 6 shots to our 0 shots right now. Somehow they are all over us. How do we go from battering PSG, who I don't think had 6 shots in the entire game against us, to now having 6 shots against us away at Clermont within 20 minutes? That is mental to me. We've made 2 personnel changes, which should improve the team a little bit, really. Well, maybe not actually at centre-back because we're losing Buchmann, but still, it's a decent team. And again, Clermont coming forward, I think they probably deserve a goal out of this game so far, but we deal with the cross, and now Mitrovic, who was very good in that previous game, can launch a counter. He finds Dion. Dion finds Annan. He goes back to Belic, who chips the ball into the area, and if this goes in the back of the net, that would have been a beautiful team goal, but the keeper was on form to make the save from the header. And Bellio, still on a 6.5, I think he might need dropping for a couple of games at this stage. He just isn't scoring. Aziz Yakubu chomping at the bit to get on the pitch. I think we have a word with Belly after this game, say you've been rubbish, we're dropping you, and put him on the sidelines for a while. He's clearly not quite as good as he used to be in previous versions of Football Manager. He's not actually made a cap for the Croatian national team yet, and he's 24 years old, which probably says something about how good he could be in the future. So, either he's not as good in this version of the game or we've got a bit of a dud version, but I just generally think he's probably not quite as good as he was in 2 Football Managers ago when he was like the man to get. Him and Lorenzo Luca, they were like the 2 guys to get, I think, and Benjamin Šeško at the same time, because they were just big, could head the ball well, and were pretty fast, and that was sort of the meta at the time. So RIP to those 3. They're not quite as good anymore, as we've just given away a penalty. To add injury to insult, we've not played well today, and now we're giving Clermont a free chance at goal. So Etienne Green has got a decent history of saving penalties, but Ospina steps up and sends him the wrong way. This is why we aren't going to be champions anytime soon. We can beat PSG, but we just can't beat Clermont. Or Reims. We drew to Reims, didn't we? And they're below them now. I'm going to put my hands in my pockets and I'm going to say I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. And hopefully that sort of gets the message into them at half time. We're going out with a more attacking stance here in the second half, but nothing much has happened so far. We are now 60 minutes on the clock. We'll see how this highlight turns out, and then we'll make some changes, with probably taking Bellio off. And Nan looks like he's taken a knock. He's on a 6.2 rating anyway. As Busio hits the crossbar, that's what this highlight was for. We've come agonisingly close there as Tom Roth puts it across the face of goal. Let's make these changes then. Bellio off. For Aziz Yakubu. We're going to bring Cerny on, who's not played much game time recently, on the right-hand side. No one in midfield is playing well. Busio is frustrated. Let's get you off for, I guess, Carrizo in that instance. You can see what he looks like. And then we'll get Fontan off for Bastian, who needs some game time. We are going to shout, demands more at them, and we have to get something out of this game. Surely we can't lose this against a team who were 15th in the table after we just dominated PSG. How is this? I don't understand this game sometimes, or how we are so poor against some of the lower leagues, another penalty. I think that might have been outside the area, to be fair. We'll see what the referee says on VAR. It's going to it. It was right on the... You know what? No, it's probably given. I think they're probably going to give it, aren't they? Penalty, going to VAR. No penalty. Oh, I was right then. It was outside the area. I mean, it's basically on the line. I think Clermont have been a little bit unlucky with that one, as Hugo Siquet, who's a very good right back, by the way. How he's playing at Clermont, I don't know. He was definitely one we looked at some point, but we couldn't afford for some reason. Either we didn't go for him, but we've managed to deal with the danger at least. But today has been a disaster. Let's go very attacking right at the end. Just shout, demand more. I can't believe we've not been able to break down this Clermont side. How depressing. From the highs of a PSG win to the lows of a Clermont loss, hey. Thrash the armed, I'm embarrassed by that performance, it was shameful. So, Dion, your form recently, you've not scored since the Lens game. 6-4, 6-7, 6-9, 6-4, 6-4. We have to say to you, warn player, criticise recent form and say, I've got everything you can get back to scoring ways, but you've not been scoring, and I want you to let you know that, basically. And he seems pretty happy with that. His morale's gone up, but we are going to drop you. Justin Che has now got a yellow card ban as well. And our next game in a week's time is the derby against Lyon, which I am a little bit nervous for now. After all the weekend's fixtures, we stay in 4th place, but only 2 points ahead of Lyon. Oh, and now Mitrovic is injured for that game, so he will miss it, although he played pretty poorly in that previous game. We'll bring Bassi back on. So, Justin Che off for Holic. We'll also get Mitrovic off for Bassi. Yakubu comes on for Dion. Tarek Buchmann also comes back on the pitch for Jesus Vallejo. And we head into the game. So really, we need to get the win today to get back on track and to try and make up a little bit of ground to Lens, PSG and Marseille. Now, we're not going to be in a title fight this season. I don't think we're quite good enough for that. Like I said at the start of the PSG game, yes, we beat them in the day, but we just aren't quite good enough to compete with them across an entire 34-game season. So I'm not expecting us to be right up there by the end of the season, but I am expecting us to be in the top 5, top 6 European spots. Ideally, I think 6 teams now get European football in France this season because of some good performances in the previous seasons. So ideally, we're in 5th place to guarantee it as some sort of football, because we don't want to be in a situation like we were last season where we came 5th but then lost European football because the cup winner finished below 5th in the table. That was very frustrating. Actually, the green extends down to 7th place, so maybe there are 7 European places this season. So anything in the top 6 actually might be okay for us, which does suggest that last season we were just very unlucky not to come away with some sort of European football. But that is football sometimes. You have to deal with the cards you're dealt, and that's what happened last season as Annan dribbles his way through the crowd, finds a pass out wide to Holic, who puts it into Aziz Yakubu, who is telling me, start me, boss. Start me ahead of Dion Drenabello. I'll get you the gold. I'll get the return. I'll get us back to winning ways. I mean, the dream is to have him and Dion Drenabello both just scoring goals for fun, and then it's a selection nightmare for me. Right now, Dion is forcing my hand, and Yakubu is taking his opportunity. And so a very dominant first half from us there. Possession pretty equal, but loads more shots. And we've got an early free kick here in the second half, which was on target, but Castiles with a fantastic save pushes it around the post. Resulting corner is sent into the middle by Busio, near post cleared, and that is probably going to be that from the highlight as it goes out for a throw. Once again, it's another poor performance from Belic. We just cannot seem to get a good match rating out of him or anyone that sort of plays in that CDM spot right now. For some reason it's next to Yakubu. It should be, I don't know. Either way, let's bring Tommy Doyle on, and I do want to give Bastien more game time as well. He'll come on for Fontaine, who's on a 6.6. Bastien is the future. We've got to get him playing a bit more to improve him. I spoke about it last game as well, obviously, but we need to get him focused and firing and hopefully scoring goals for us as we just sort of mess around with the ball in the 6-yard area and then lose it. The highlight is continuing though as Belic finds Roth down this near side. He tries to put a ball into the middle. It's been blocked by Lyon as they bring it out from the back. Are we going to see a counter-attack here as they put the ball in behind, shot from distance, just over the bar, ripples across the top of the net, but out for a goal kick. So we just need to hold on here, really, for another 20 minutes. It's a very similar situation to the PSG game where They grew into the game the later it went on. Lyon are growing into the game right now. Another decent shot there, but saved by Etienne Green. And maybe once again, we just start to slow the tempo down a little bit. We up the time wasting a little bit, and we're a little bit more... We can still be creative, actually. We still have to try and score some more goals, but just to try and slow things down a little bit, to try and take control of the game. We've got a corner with 9 minutes to go into the near post, cleared only as far as Buchmann, who sends it back to Roth, who can put a ball back into Buchmann. They're messing around with it right now. Buchmann just dribbles away out of danger, finds Busio, finds Koba, out wide to Holic, who can put a cross in the middle. He finds Aziz Yakubu. His shot is blocked. And here comes the counter-attack for Lyon. We have to stop them. Bastien can't get a block in there, but we do stop it with Tommy Doyle's header. Out for a throw. That should be that. It is. And now we just need to hold on for 5 more minutes to get a big win against our rivals, to get us back on track. And again, I'm confused as to how we can beat PSG and Lyon, but lose to Clermont and not look like we're ever going to win that game at all. That was just really bizarre to me. As Holic finds Koba, finds Holic again in the area. He puts a shot, not quite sure what that was, but it's gone out for a goal kick in the end by the corner flag. Either way, more highlights. I don't want this. I just want to see the game finish. I just want us to get the win. It's so important to get these wins, but we lose possession. And Lyon come forward. The goal is coming. I know it is. I know it's coming. Wow. I think that was Bastien with it was Bastien with a huge block there. A game-winning block for us there. And can this highlight just finish, please? It does. 4 minutes at a time. Runs down pretty quickly. Huge. Huge win for us. So now we just need to work out how to beat teams in the relegation zone, and we should be fine. I tell you what though, December before the winter break is looking tasty. Monaco, Marseille and Lille. I think we have to cover those games. But given they're all very good teams, we should be beating them. If they were all teamed in the relegation zone, they would be guaranteed losses.